Good morning, everyone. My name is Jim Codney. I'm National Sales Director here with Western Marketing. Really excited about our webinar today. We've got a great guest presenter who's done a couple of these webinars with me. But before we get going, just a couple quick housekeeping rules or notes. First of all, we're here for you. If you have questions, please ask them. Our goal is to give you a lot of good information in not a lot of time, because we know your time's money. And when you're sitting listening to Justin and I talk about why F&G, you aren't out at appointments, paying bills, putting food on the table. So we'll try and get right at it. But please ask questions. Really excited. I asked F&G for this webinar because in the annuity space this year, it's been a little rough, if I'm being honest, right? The market's been a little crazy. Some people have been hesitant to move, and a lot of our carrier partners have done nothing to kind of respond to that. And F&G is one of two carriers that has said, hey, we're going to look at our products and make them better and try and get more business and try and get, incentivize clients, give them even more reason than normal to work with us and to buy an insurance product, an annuity with us. So really happy that they've done that, because that means they understand where the market's at. They understand what our clients are going through on a day-to-day basis. So reached out to our partners at F&G, and they were very happy to participate. So a couple quick things. First of all, anything we talk about today, please keep in mind, is subject to change at any time without notice. So before you market, before you talk to clients, either check with F&G in their portal or with the rep, or contact myself or somebody in our team just to make sure what we're talking about today is still current when it works for you and your business. And then secondly, we will follow up with you after the webinar with an email and a phone call. So again, if you have questions that don't pop up during the webinar and you want to ask something, just know there will be a follow-up. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest presenter, Senior Internal Wholesaler for Annuities with F&G, Justin Warnke. Justin, welcome.
Awesome. Thanks for the warm introduction there, Jim. Hi, everybody. My name's Justin Warnke. I'm Senior Internal here for F&G. A little bit of background about me, why annuities, why F&G, right? So myself, I've been in the industry for about 15 years at this point. Worked with variable annuities, fixed indexed annuities, mutual fund products, and for multiple different carriers. And I can say that working with F&G, working with our fixed indexed annuities on here has been the most enjoyable part of my journey so far. It's just F&G has a lot of really great things. They actually care about the clients, which that's always been huge for me, is the client's always number one, right? So I can say we put the client number one with us, and we do so with our product. I always think the best rates that we can give the clients, the best withdrawal factors we can give the clients, the better opportunity we have to give them a more successful retirement. So F&G, each year we actually run a retirement survey. It's available out on our website. It's available on the fglife.com. And you can see any prior years as well. But this year's really stood out to us. 70% of pre-retirees have started to think they might want to push back their retirement, right? 23% of those people are saying that they're going to push back their retirement. That 23%, that's a 10% increase over prior years. How can we help them? We have solutions for them that can help them get into retirement comfortably. They might think they have to push it back, but we might be able to tell them, hey, if we get you with the right solutions, we can keep you on your retirement journey. We can keep you on track with when you actually want to retire. There's a few big things that stood out for us as to why they were selecting it. upper right-hand corner, I won't read over it, but I will just say it's pretty alarming, right? When somebody's worried that they're not going to have enough, or they're worried about inflation being the big driver for it. With annuities, sometimes I like to call them sleep insurance, right? We can get somebody into an annuity and we can cut out the fear of the market, right? We can cut out the, hey, I'm worried that they're going to say something stupid on TV and then suddenly my stock's going to plummet, right? It's going to go down by 20, 30%, or maybe some economic downturn happens for us. What goes up must come down, right? And I always look at it as, hey, if I've worked 40, 50 years for my retirement, for that nest egg, and I just watch 20% of it go away over the course of a week. If we're looking at normal market conditions, right, with the S&P 500, say on average it goes up by about 10 to 12% on there. If I lost 20%, that means I actually have to make back 25%. That just put me 2 years behind schedule on what I was thinking for retirement. Let's cut that out, right? So another great part of the survey was, this is for you, right? Like this is for your knowledge when it's like, hey, I'm not getting enough leads, I'm not getting enough clients, right? I'm not getting enough traction going in. 47% of people that responded to our survey said they weren't working with a financial professional. And then Generation X, the next generation of retirement, we have over 50% saying that they're not working with anyone, right? Those are the people that walk into your office, they're 65 years old and they go, I want to retire in 6 months. What do I do? I don't even know where to start. And that's an alarming portion, but it shows you that there's a lot of opportunity out there because A, not everyone they're working with is great. And B, the people who aren't working with somebody, you can't tell me that 54% of people don't need somebody to help them along with their retirement journey. So where does F&G fit into all this, right? I mean, I told you we could get you into some products that could help out with the clients. We have solutions available for a lot of different needs. If somebody wants to grow without worrying about the market, if they want a possibility to have an income supplement to them, right? Or potentially, maybe they want to pass something along to their beneficiaries. Maybe they want a combination of those. We're not just saying, hey, you're in this category and sticking them there. So what I'd like to go over with us here for our solutions wise is, first, I want to give you the opportunity of right now is a great time still to look at replacing existing business. A lot of people still have not moved out of their old portfolios where they're looking at, if you go to a client's house and you're working with them, or you call them on the phone, you're working with them, you say, hey, I see that you have an annuity. Is it accomplishing your goals? What's it looking at, right? I often compare it to, if you drive around a 2015 Honda Civic and that gets you everywhere, it has 100,000 miles on it, you love that car to death, and somebody walks up to you and says, hey, I know that you love your car. What if I could take you to the dealership right now? We get you into a 2026 model. It has all the bells and whistles that you wanted on it, might be a little bit better for you. And guess what? It doesn't cost you anything. Would you be interested? Can we at least look, right? So that's one where you run into somebody, they maybe have a 3.5% cap rate available to them, or a 4% cap rate. I ran into one the other day, they have a 2.25% S&P 500 cap, and it's a growth focused product. So definitely some room for growth here. Now,
Hey, Justin.
Yeah.
Before you move on, I just want to kind of back up that statement. So for those of you who are newer into the annuity market, let's back up to pre-COVID, right? Because that's when a lot of these annuities that are either coming close to being out of surrender or in their last 3 or 4 years of surrender, which is kind of what Justin's talking about, right? And one of the great things for us today is the interest rate environment. So the interest rate environment pre-COVID was much lower than it is today. So even if your client bought, let's say, an annuity in 2017, 2018, right? Their rates that they would be getting are going to be much lower in general, right? There's always exceptions, but in general, going to be much lower on those products than what we have to offer today with F&G. So that's where the replacement really is an option of the annuity market. Or, and there's some other things we can talk about offline if you have questions, but I just wanted to say we're seeing a lot of that business here at Western Marketing because of the pre-COVID low interest rate. Now we have high interest rates, and then F&G again is doing some good things to even make the case more compelling to the clients on why F&G now. So sorry to interrupt, but just wanted to add that.
No, I appreciate the addition there. So as you're running into these cases, like Jim said, contact me with it. I wanted to show you what our replacement lines are because they've gotten pretty generous since early March of this year when we're looking at replacing existing business, just because the information or the products that we're offering right now, and for lack of a better phrase, blow the competition out of the water, right? So, if you have somebody that's up to age 69, if they say, you could say to them, hey, you're getting, say, $20,000 a year, just as an example, but you got a large surrender penalty on your contract, right? Whether it's due to surrender charges or market value adjustment, as long as it's within a net 10% loss for us, if the income is beating out their current income by 10% or more, so say they're getting $20,000, we offer them $25,000 a year on there. As long as they're 10% or less with surrender penalties, we can look at potentially replacing them, right? So if income is their ultimate goal behind it, we can help them with that. I'll jump down to the bottom part of the slide here where, because the product that we'll talk about next really shows this, shows the ability for replacements on it as well, where we can accept up to a net 3% loss, and that's after a bonus offsets any surrender penalties, and that's just on an accumulation only product type of view. So income products, we can take up to that 10% loss. If we're moving to a pure accumulation product or an accumulation product for us, then we can only accept up to a net 3% loss. But I'll show you what I mean by that because it's really awesome. and we recently made the product even better, like Jim was saying. So it's pretty great. I get pretty excited to talk about it. So without further ado, jumping into the solutions part of it, we're going to look at Performance Pro. Performance Pro with F&G, it's viewed as a big bonus accumulation product. It also happens to have a guaranteed withdrawal benefit on it for a low cost. Now, said it's big bonus. What do I mean? It's up to a 17% bonus in our standard states, up to a 13% in the light states, and then 11% in compact states. We can go over those solutions with you, what it is, or what states fall into what with it. But keep in mind, standard states where the bulk of us are going to fall on it would be looking at 17%. California and Texas, I always throw those out because those have a lot of clients in them. Those are considered light states for us, so it is a 13% bonus. But with the 17% bonus, remember how I said we could take a net 3% loss? That means for those clients in those standard states, it can be up to 20% as a net loss, but we could get them into a product with higher cap rates. We could offset most of the surrender penalties with the bonus on there, and then give them the opportunity to be in a better rate stream. So with annuities, whenever you write an annuity, you typically fall into what's known as a rate stream, meaning that if we're offering, say, a 6% cap rate, just throwing out an example, most likely we're not going to deviate too much from that cap rate. Whether the market then starts offering 10% cap rates or it drops down to 2% cap rates, we should be staying pretty consistently close to that 6% cap rate. So I often view it like a highway, right? A 3-lane highway. If you're stuck in the middle and you look to the left, people are flying by you. You look to the right, people are flying by you, and you're stuck in the middle. You're probably not going to be able to move from that middle spot on there. And that's kind of the way rate streams work. So I did mention that it does have that living benefit side to it for the low cost. 10 basis points. What's 10 basis points look like on a contract, right? Say you have a $100,000 policy. That's $100 a year to access a guaranteed income for life feature, where if you lose 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, in that instance, we can actually double out your payment until the account value runs out, and then it goes back to a single payment. So a lot of times where I'm seeing this utilized for it is, hey, we want the big bonus, we want the accumulation side. We don't really have a long-term care insurance, right? Long-term care is very expensive, as I'm sure you're aware. When I was pricing it out for my mom's like the bionic woman. Sometimes I call her. She has fake elbows, fake shoulders, fake knees, fake hips, fake ankles at this point. She has one of her hamstrings detached. I mean, she's just kind of falling apart, right? So when I was looking at long-term care for her, we were looking at right around $4,500 a month. So that's $4,500 a month for something that she might have to use in the future, right? Whereas if we put in $300,000 into the safe or into the Performance Pro, she's paying about $300 a year. I'm not calling this long-term care insurance. It's not what this is. But what I'm saying is when she loses 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, she'll have access to a double payment, which can certainly help with the bills. So no need to be in a nursing home, as an example. No need for confinement. It's purely you lose 2 of the 6 ADLs anytime after the 3rd year. We can then activate that impairment multiplier, pay out that double payment. Low cost of 10 basis points. So I did call this a accumulation product, right? Said it's a big bonus accumulation. What do I really mean by accumulation is it's built to grow, right? Everything that's underlined here does have a guaranteed participation rate on it of at least 100%, meaning that stops uncomfortable conversations in the future, right? Usually with fixed indexed annuity products, the rates will remain consistent throughout the surrender charge period, which this is a 10-year product on there. And then with any company, usually the rates start to decrease after that point. So when the renewal rate average for the industry is sitting right around 22.5% for a participation rate, I would rather walk into a meeting with a client and say, hey, S&P 500 did 5% for return, you get a 5% credit, right? Rather than, hey, S&P 500 did 5% for return, you get a 1% credit. It makes that conversation easier with the client for the future. We also have on it a gold commodity. So gold's been on the tip of everyone's tongue, where it's, hey, how do I get invested into gold? Gold reached new all-time highs how do we get into it, right? Well, how about we cut out the volatility of gold, where, what goes up must come down on there. So why don't we capture the growth on it without having to participate in the losses? The S&P 500, I always call it, I say, if I walked up to my mom and I said, hey, Mom, I want to get you into the Morgan Stanley U.S. Equity Allocator Index, her eyes would get wide and she'd go, what are you talking about, right? Whereas if I said, hey, we can get you into the S&P 500, we can get you an index that's tied to the S&P 500, that's that familiarity aspect. Lastly, I'll cover with the growth side of things. So that Morgan Stanley, that is newer to F&G for us. It's new to the point where if it had been live last year, it would have been the number 4 top producing index in the entire industry. What it is it's a 2/3, 1/3 blend of U.S. large tech or large cap and then technology. Think of it as S&P and NASDAQ. So 2/3, 1/3 blend has a 12% volatility, so it can really fluctuate or allow for the growth with the market on there, and it happens intraday. So it happens multiple times throughout the day. If one of them's beating the other one out by 12% or more, it just flip-flops them. So the great part about this index is it has no bond component to it. Where if you worked with volatility controlled indices in the past, over say the past 4 or 5 years, there hasn't been too much growth on them. And a lot of times it's just because of the bond component inside of those. So we removed it. Right? So we have some real good powerhouses there. We have that guaranteed participation rate of 100% on those strategies. And then the last part that I'll cover with the Performance Pro for us is why would you choose a bonus product over a non-bonus product, right? So if you go and you look at Performance Pro's rates, the S&P 500 is sitting at a 6.5% cap rate. Our Accumulator Plus, just to kind of keep it in the F&G family for us, it's a pure accumulation product, no bells, no whistles, no bonus, has a 9% cap on it. Okay, so 6.5% cap versus a 9% cap. With that 17% bonus up front, participating in the market day one, it takes 10 full years in order for that 9% cap rate to catch up to Performance Pro. So that's assuming that there's 7 out of 10 years of market performance, right? I typically don't like to make assumptions. We've all heard the term of what assumptions turn us into, right? So it's one of those 7 out of 10 years. If it hits, it takes 10 years to catch up. That's why we're looking at a bonus product over a pure accumulation product, is we say, not only do you start out up front, but it can take quite a bit of time until those account values would even become equal for it. So, if you wanted to terminate your policy in the 9th year, awesome. Performance Pro is still ahead of what a pure accumulation could do. So I covered quite a bit with Performance Pro, but I think you can tell why it's such a powerful product, right? It can help you really jumpstart that retirement. It can help you with replacing opportunities for them. It can, take you out of the market. You can participate in gold if you want to. You have some heavy hitter options. So flipping the script for us a little bit, we went from pure accumulation, big bonus accumulation product, over to our Safe Income Advantage. Safe Income Advantage, it's the top guaranteed level income. So if you think of, hey, I want income and I want the most I can get with the least amount of money, awesome. Let's look at Safe Income Advantage. So Safe Income Advantage really can tackle a few of those fears for your clients as well. Remember how in that survey that I showed 44% of clients were concerned about inflation, right? Safe Income Advantage, it gives your client the option where when they decide to turn on income, they can choose from 3 different income options. They could choose from a level income, which that starts your payment the highest possible for them right away for it, but it remains level. Okay. You have a fixed increasing option with the payments where payments start off the lowest, but they grow by 3.5% each year. And then once that account value runs out, it levels off at the higher amount. So, inflation typically has around 2.4 to 2.6%. So this is kind of a way to not only keep up with inflation, but potentially give yourself a raise into retirement. And then lastly, it does have an inflation-based option. It's based off of the CPIU index, some consumer price urban for us, and it can go anywhere from 0% up to 5% for inflation-based. So if inflation runs rampant again, and it goes, say, back up 6, 7%, they get an increase of 5% to their payment amounts. If we experience a time of deflation on there, it would just remain a level payment for them at that point. So typically, we can help calm those fears with the client where, hey, are you worried that you're going to lose purchasing power into retirement? If so, we can ask you to, we can ask you to look at the Safe Income Advantage on here. And when we're looking at that Safe Income Advantage for it, we can give you those increasing payouts. Now, it does have a roll-up rate that's benefit-based. So the way that we calculate the income for the client is that amount is rolling up at 7.2% per year. Nice part about it is it's daily crediting. So if you say to your client, hey, that 65-year-old example where they walk into your office and they say, I want to retire in 6 months. On my next birthday, I want retirement, right? Awesome. If we can drop you in right now, we can look at this as, hey, you're going to get a 7.2% increase over the course of the year, but there's going to be daily crediting to that. So it can actually increase your payout the sooner that we get it in. What does that actually look like, right? Like, yes, I've told you it's top level income on there, but what do I mean? So you do have access to this calculator, and we will get you the links over on here. So, Jim, I'll ask you to send those out because I had those few computer issues this morning, so I appreciate it. But this is on our Safe Income Advantage page. It's the F&G Annuity Calculator. It's super simple to run for us. All I did was I changed the product name to Safe Income Advantage. I'm just basing this off of $100,000. I put a birth date in of January 1st for us, so a few months away, just to show you. And then if they wanted to take income immediately, day one, they could do so. Okay. If they took income immediately, what we're looking at, 65-year-old, day one income, $100,000, $7,530 for the rest of their life. They cannot outlive it. Guaranteed to them. That's a 7.53% withdrawal rate, right? Now, this nice little part about the calculator here is it shows you on this deferral year that I have up, it's saying it's deferring at 0 years plus X amount of months for us. So if we waited until their birthday to start taking the withdrawals, so that month 6, we can see their initial $100,000 deposit has rolled up its benefit to $103,500 approximately. And since they hit a new birthday, they now get 7.69%. Them waiting a total of 6 months for us, actually brought up their payment amount by about $400 a year for the rest of their life, guaranteed, right? So just showing the clients having that certainty where we're telling you this is a guaranteed product. This is guaranteed how it will work. This is guaranteed with the payments on here. When do you want to start the income, right? Now, it has that impairment multiplier on here as well. So with the impairment multiplier part of it, here's a real example, right? Where it's, hey, they're getting $25,000 a year for the rest of their life, guaranteed on there, but they lose 2 of the 6 activities of daily living. They lose 2 of the 6 activities of daily living. Anytime after that 3rd year, we've increased a single annuitant up to $50,000. With a joint annuitant, it would increase it by a time and a half, so $37,500. Keep in mind, with F&G, we allow you to add and remove the annuitant prior to starting income. So if you have somebody, maybe it's a 401k, right? Maybe you run into somebody who they had a stay-at-home parent with one of them, and then the other one was at work, right? They put all their money into the 401k. That's maybe their only retirement savings that they have. We don't want to cut out income for the rest of, only one of their lives. We want both of them to get it, right? So we could add that individual as a joint annuitant on those qualified funds prior to starting income. And now, hey, either one of them loses 2 of the 6 ADLs on there. They now qualify for that $37,500 until the account value runs out and it doesn't leave, or that payments don't leave them. It just reverts back to that initial $25,000. So I covered quite a bit of information with you here. It's a lot of really good resources, right? If I wanted you to take away just 2 things from what we talked about today, it would be F&G has a killer bonus accumulation product that I can utilize for a lot of different things. They also have a guaranteed income product that's amazing, right? That's what I'd want you to tell your friends anyway. If you want to take a deeper dive into our website, if you're newer to F&G, if you haven't really seen what we can do, if you're new to our sales link or to our new business process on here, everybody starts somewhere. So this link, you can pull out your phone, take a picture of the QR code. You can, type it into your browser. This is the one that I'm asking Jim to send out as well for us on here, but it'll show you how to utilize Sales Link, where to go for our new business information on there. And then lastly, compliance always loves to say hello whenever I do any kind of trainings for us. Here's our sales desk information as well. I can say with F&G right now, we have about a 12-second hold time before we answer the phone. And that 12 seconds is legitimately enough time for the phone to ring and then the person to press answer on their phone. That's how we've been about all year. There are some times where we might have a minute blip there, but typically we're answering the phone within 12 seconds. So I like to throw that out there just because it's, sometimes I'll get somebody on the phone with me and they'll go, I got you. I just want to stay on the line. Hold on. I have questions. And then I go, we have a 12-second hold time. Like, you don't have to have all your questions right now. If you have questions later, feel welcome to give us a jingle back on there. We're not going to keep you on hold all day. We understand your business is important. Your time's important. So I do want to ask, what questions do we have? How else can I help?
Yeah, thanks, Justin. Folks, as Justin just said, if you have questions, now it's time to add them in the questions box. I'm gonna kind of talk really quickly about a couple things because I know some of you are newer to annuities, some of you are are more annuity experts. But a couple things. First of all, we have real case studies. Somebody actually participating, listening to this webinar today, that before last year was a health agent, was an annuity agent, and he worked with us, and he learned, which is sat in webinars, did some of these trainings, really wanted to learn the annuity market. And so he went from no annuity sales to last year doing roughly $1.4 million in annuity business. So even if you're a health agent, I want to tell you that this is real, and we can help you. And if you want to increase your income, this is what I'll say: don't stop what you're doing. If you're doing Medicare or ACA or something else, not annuities, and you're doing it well, congratulations. But by adding annuities into your portfolio, you can significantly increase your income. How much? We can talk about that offline. Everybody's a little different, but selling one annuity a quarter can make a substantial difference. Justin talked about two different types of annuities, and I know sometimes it's confusing as you're starting your annuity journey, for those of you who are. But really, we talked about accumulation, which is growth, right? We've got some time. The client has horizon of usually 7 to 10 years or more before they think they're going to touch that money outside of some weird unforeseen emergency, right? That's the Performance Pro. That's the one where, hey, we're going to grow this over time. And then at the end of this, if the client doesn't need money right now, we'll figure out what to do with it. Maybe at the end of that surrender charge, then's the time to look at like a safe income advantage. The difference there is that's clients that are closer to needing, really safe income advantage sweet spot. And Justin, correct me if I'm wrong, but is less than 5 years of when they're going to need to really trigger guaranteed lifetime income. And I want to reiterate that guaranteed lifetime income is what it says. It can never be outlived. So you've got a client that's, let's say, 62, going to retire at 65. He or she's got 3 years, and they want to supplement income. They're going to have Social Security, etc. But they've got some money in it, either an annuity, an old 401k, or even in the market, that maybe they want to take a portion of their portfolio in the market and make it safe so they can make sure they have live on money. Great opportunity for safe income advantage. Justin showed you the calculator, which we'll get out to you on how to calculate all that. But I want to let you know, I have access to actually a comparison tool with Annuity Rate Watch. So if you have an income client, I can actually tell you, yes, this is who's going to be the best for them. And I'll also tell you that a lot of times, again, in that 2 to 4 or 5 year duration or deferment for income, safe income advantage is usually either at the top or very close to the top. Not always. They can't be all things to all people, but a very, very strong, viable solution to your income needs, clients' income needs. So, just keep that in mind. Now, there is a couple actually commission questions, because I brought up growing your revenue or your income. We have those privately. So if you have questions about commissions, we'll gladly have that on a one-on-one conversation. You can either call and speak to me. My name again is Jim Codney. I'm our national sales director. Or you can call and speak to whoever your marketer is. If you work with somebody else here, our number is 800-852-7152. Again, 800-852-7152. There's another question about, what questions to ask. Like if you're a health agent, or you aren't an annuity expert, how do you breach those conversations? And this is what I'll tell you. We can have those conversations again with you, but really, we've done this training and happy to share those recorded webinars. But one of them, actually, we highlight what we call the golden question here. And the golden question, honestly, is you're going through and you're talking to them and you ask them if their retirement is insured. And when they say, "What do you mean?" You go, "Well, do you have a old 401k, stocks, annuities, et cetera?" And the good news is, no matter how they answer that, we've got solutions for them. If they say no, they definitely probably need to look at an annuity if they have the ability to do so. And if they say yes, an annuity may still be the answer. It might be an IUL, but again, we can talk about that. And one thing for that transition is we actually have what we call a LARC, a Life and Annuity Resource Center, here at Western Marketing, and it's got a confidential needs analysis. I often call it a fact finder. Some people call it an intake form, whatever it is, but it goes through and it does include health. So if you're a health agent right now, it includes health questions, but it also includes questions to transition that client into, hey, you might want to talk to me about life or annuities. Now, keep in mind, again, compliance disclosure. If you're an MA agent doing Medicare Advantage, I know there's a cooling off period. Please make sure whatever you do it compliantly. And myself and our team can do just about everything for you other than talk to the client and write the app. So you get the information, we can do case design, illustrations, talk to you about talking points to sit down with your clients. We do that all day, every day. And so just know we're here for you. So, I do want to point out again that F&G not only has been a good partner with Western Marketing and our agents for a long time, but they're actually a carrier that has basically responded to the market. So a lot of our other carriers have just kept their products as is, and as Justin said, they increased their bonus on Performance Pro. They've actually gotten their lifetime income payments better on Safe Income Advantage. So good products. Justin, another question, and I know the answer, but this question is, are they flexible premium products or are they single premium products?
Yeah. So the bulk of our products here at F&G are going to be flexible premium. Typically, if you're looking at like the Performance Pro on there, only the first year premium is going to get that bonus on it, as well as like with Safe Income Advantage, only the first year is going to get that 7.2% roll up on it. So I don't shy away from telling people it might make more sense for you to write something else at that point for them, if it's a substantial amount of money on there, because it could potentially impact the client with it. So whether it's with us or whether it's with somebody else, whatever the latest and greatest thing is at that time, we can certainly accept the premium in on there as long as they haven't started their income feature. But if they otherwise, I'm fairly upfront with it where I go, we can accept it. It might benefit you more to look at something else.
Yeah, thanks, Jess. What I would tell you is, if you have a client that needs something flexible, truly flexible premium, let's talk. There are not a ton of products out there right now that are real flexible premium annuity products in the fixed annuity market. But there are some. So let's talk about options. I guess is the best thing to say, and we'll help guide you and your client as best as we can with what's out in the market when they need it. I would look at these primarily, if I'm just being totally honest, as a consider them pretty much single premium, because as Justin said, once you're out of that first year, they may not be the best to then just add future premiums in, but we can talk about it. Another question, Justin, can these be Roth IRAs?
Yep. So we allow for them to be Roth. Our conversion process can be a little bit clunky on there if you want to do Roth conversions, just as a heads up. But we can talk about those cases as they come up on there to potentially talk about solutions with it. But ultimately, yes, we can have it as a Roth.
Yeah. So when that Roth, and Roth conversions and Roth IRAs have been a hot topic for a while now, just reach out to us and we can go through the process, make sure, your client understands fully what's going to happen, because the worst thing we can do is do a Roth conversion and the client not understand how that works, what components, taxation, and et cetera are going to happen. So it sounds like whoever asked that question is doing some of this now. So congratulations. But we're happy to have these conversations. Not all carriers do Roths, and even some that do them don't do them well. So when you run into those clients, let's talk and we can help you. So Justin, it does look like that's the end of the questions. So again, for everybody on here, thank you so much for joining Justin and I. Again, F&G is one of our favorite annuity partners for a lot of reasons. Justin and his partner Tom Ross, who is our rep out. Justin's internal, Tom is external. They're both awesome. They both work really hard and are very receptive to working with us and helping you, our agent. So, thank you, Justin, and I'll tell Tom next time I talk to him, thank you. But we really appreciate everything you and the team at F&G do for us. It means a lot. And folks, again, we'll get you a follow-up email with the links to the things that Justin showed you, the calculator, and then the other piece, and some other information, just some bullet points about the products here shortly. And then last but not least, our number again, 800-852-7152. So with that, thank you all again for investing time in hopefully building more to whatever your business is today. And we're committed to helping you get wherever you need to be. So with that, thank you very much. Make it a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jim.